on that in a moment because we've heard a lot about the factors that have contributed to this latest round of violence. Among them, some point to the controversial evictions planned for Sheikh Jarrah in Jerusalem, while others have pointed to alleged Israeli and Jewish encroachments on the Temple Mount, atop which the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound was built. Jordanian Waqf official Sheikh Abdul Azim Salhab, for one, accusing Israel of wanting to Judaize Israel. Judaize Jerusalem especially, but few outside of Israel are pointing to ongoing Palestinian incitements compounded by the annual Iran-initiated Quds Day. The following are Quds Day remarks made by Hamas Politburo member and former Minister of Interior Fatih Hamad, as translated by MEMRI, the Middle East Media Research Institute.
امع طرقاب اليهود كلها هي تقف على العرق من هان 5 شيكل تشتري لك سكينه واضيه مضيها وهنا على طول حزه 5 شيكل 5 شيكل انك تذل دوله الكافر لا تجدن اشد الناس عداوه للذين امنوا اليهود والذين اشركوا لقد افسد اليهود لقد تغطرس اليهود وآن الان حسابهم.
So how much of this recent uptick in violence truly stems from issues in Jerusalem as opposed to external sources, that is to say Iran and its proxies like Hamas and Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, etc., simply using Jerusalem and the Palestinians as a pretext to incite attacks on Israel? Returning now to discuss, I'm here again with CEO of Honestreporting, Dan Pomerantz, and via Zoom, political and peace activist Moshe Chertoff. Moshe, again, we'll start with you. Your perspective on what we just heard and my questions that I posed.
I don't think anybody in their right mind would be in favor of incitement to violence. At least they shouldn't be. And that is true on both sides. And it's not just a matter of Palestinian extremists that are fueling the fire here. I don't think, or it's obvious to me, that the whole situation did not start in Sheikh Jarrah. We have to go back and understand that people in Sheikh Jarrah and other villages, not neighborhoods of Jerusalem, villages like Silwan and others, have been living in a situation for 54 years where they were annexed into the Jerusalem municipality, but not given Israeli citizenship. So when it comes to them having a voice as to who should influence, for instance, the current situation in our government, they don't have a voice. They can't vote for who they think would be the right people to actually stop the violence on all sides. So first of all, let me go back and just mention, relating to what Daniel said previously, President Rivlin is not left. And it's ridiculous to even insinuate that he's anywhere near left. He has so far been a very neutral president, trying not to lean in any direction, but yes, making decisions in both directions. He's not a leftist, so I have no suspicion of his desires or his intents. There has been incitement, and in fact, I heard it yesterday when I walked through the streets of the old city. I've heard it from Jews for the most part. I did hear it only once from any Palestinians, and that was only because they hadn't stopped and understood why we were handing out flowers, and they were angry, and I understand their anger, and I also understand that although many homes in Sheikh Jarrah and also in Silwan in particular belonged in the past to Jewish families, that doesn't mean that I have the right now to just go in and take it back or go through the court process to take it back. We have to understand that these are people, for the most part, in Sheikh Jarrah, who were expelled or left Israel back in 1948, and now they're being expelled again. I don't think any of us would be going along with that. And as to the Gaza response, I'm very proud of Mordechai Analevich and the people who fought in the Warsaw Ghetto when we were being held back. And I'm not making any equivalence here, but I don't believe that anyone who is being treated unfairly, undemocratically, inhumanely should be limited to just being nice for 54 years. I'm not saying they should react violently in any way, but I don't know what we can expect of them.
Daniel?
And I think that if we get into negotiations, we should eventually end the naval blockade of Gaza and open up to the people of Gaza having some hope for the future, and that might release some of the tension that's there.
So Moshe, I'm going to turn now to Daniel. Your response?
Well, let's correct some facts here. Everybody in Jerusalem has been offered citizenship. Some Palestinians in Jerusalem chose to refuse citizenship as a sign of protest against Israel's existence, or at least Israel's existence in Jerusalem. If they don't have a voice after having been offered and refused citizenship, that's a choice they made, and it's still a choice that they can unmake and claim citizenship now when they want it. But they've chosen not to. Now, look, people are suffering. There's no question about that. Palestinians are suffering. They're being brutalized by Hamas, by the Palestinian Authority, and that has to stop. And the world has to stand up and say, Hamas is on the terror lists of almost every country in the Western world.
Is Israel exacerbating that, though?
Is Israel making the situation worse for Palestinians living under Hamas and the Palestinian Authority? I'm trying to imagine how. Life under those organizations is pretty bad as it is. It's painful, it's angering. Can Israel do something to alleviate it? I would certainly hope so. But to say that Israel has the ability to make life better for people who live under their own government, it just is not logical or sensible.
All right. Moshe Chertoff, thank you again for being with us, and Daniel Pomerantz, thank you as well.
Thank you.
Peace to everyone.